to the city.
Hi everybody, how are you doing? Yes, I'm being loud again. This is our porch chat.
Hi.
Hello. Joe's here. How many times have we moved?
Too many.
Too many. And then whose suggestion did it generally turn out to be?
Yours.
But I was the one that decided to buy the house over there. So now my kids, when we first started talking, and when they were moved out and we first started talking about downsizing, my daughter said, "Mom, you will never be able to live in a one-level house." Well, it is a one-level, there's a basement, but still I can't get down there. No, I got to the point where we were living on the first floor anyway. And the first floor over there is very close to the same footprint as this house. The big problem was Joe had to he had a huge shop in the back. And it had been a kind of a speakeasy.
And years ago, they could pull, when old Model Ts and Model A's, they could pull one car in, they had a lift that would lift up the car, then another one could pull in underneath it.
In that garage? Mm-hmm. He must have put the roof in afterwards.
Well, you mean the ceiling?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to do that afterwards.
Yeah. But, in fact, 2 of the books I've written, and now the one that I'm working on, are about the guy who built that house. And he was illegally married, but so were his brothers. Because he had some black history that it ended up showing in him, and genetically. But the brothers at that time, because this was way back, I mean, this guy was born in 1885. And that house was built around 1920, 1925. And by that time, he had married a white woman. Now, anybody could have had some ancestry with some kind of either African American or Oriental or whatever. But it just sometimes doesn't show up until a recessive gene becomes dominant again. And so, but his brothers only referred to him as a half-brother, but they had a very, very good marriage, even though it was, I think, protested at one time. But his mother was very, I think, a lot of the way I write it, his mother was, and this part's true, she fed the town. This is a big railroad town at the time, and she always had her lunch table, full meal, for anyone who wanted to come in, no charge. That's a service to the community that they didn't really want to, I don't think they wanted to tick her off about that. And her son was very, very dear to her. All of her children were. He was the oldest of, was it 7 or 8? I think it's 8.
I don't remember.
Well, there was Charlie, George, Fred. Fred Fulton, look him up on Google Images, or look him up. He was a fighter. And he was I don't know if he had any losses, because his arms were just really long. He was tall and his arms were really long. Okay, Fred, and then Roy, I don't know if Roy or Jack was first.
One of them was a senator or a congressman.
That was George. That was the one just a little younger than Charlie, and because he was politically involved, they just more or less disowned the rest of the family, which was sad. That house started the story. because I thought it was just plain gossip at first. And then we started getting it from other people in town saying, oh yeah, that big old garage out back was a speakeasy.
It was,
They taught fighting.
they had fighting, rooster fights.
Rooster fight, oh, I don't like that one.
Rooster fights, boxing, gambling, a lot of gambling.
Lots of gambling. And well, I'll be giving too much away. I don't want to give too much away.
But there was actually a speaker in the kitchen.
It was still there when we
It was
moved in.
still there when we moved in. It wasn't still wired up, but somebody would stay in the kitchen while they was gambling, and if they saw a constable or a policeman drive by, they would talk to them through that speaker and let them know that there's a cop around so they could pick up their table and dump everything in the pedestal.
Yeah, they had this ingenious way of making these tables that probably they had them in Chicago too, but they just flip them.
Well, they'd pick it up and dump the stuff in the pedestal and set it in.
Yeah. How ingenious is that? But then, of course, once the threat was gone, they had to clear out the pedestal and figure out who had what. That's me imagining that, but
They had talked about Jack Dempsey being down there doing some sparring with the one brother.
With Fred?
With the one that was boxing.
well, that one lady, she told me that they did that.
And there was, the rumor was you could go to Chicago and mention our town, Wymore, and people in Chicago knew where it was at.
Well, they had people, they weren't like the big names in Chicago during that time, but there was some names. There were some that came down to kind of get away from it, and they'd go gamble over there, at least. But there were tunnels all under this town. A lot, well, they're still there pretty much, but
They blocked them off. But they were
Yeah.
steam tunnels is what they were.
right, they were for heating, but they also ran a lot of booze through them to get to the,
Booze and
yeah,
people that didn't want to be seen, they'd go through there and.
yeah.
or
The
didn't-
youngest brother, and they didn't really get along great, but they somehow, it was weird. I haven't been able to figure this, but this is years later. It's a part of the life I won't be. But they called him Whitey.
Yeah.
And they called, unfortunately, and I do not use that in the book, they called Charlie Nig. Not a nice name. But anyway,
Now, I knew Whitey, I worked for him, he had a big potato patch. He would drive a tractor with a plow, I guess it was, kind of dig them up, and we'd go behind and pick them up and put them in buckets and put them
Yeah.
on trailers.
Dad kind of did that with the potato patch. They didn't like hitting the potatoes, but it was sure quicker than pulling up each plant.
But he was a bootlegger. You could
Oh,
go
yeah.
there, you could go there at night, after midnight, after the bars had closed, and you could go up there and buy a 6-pack of beer from him. He had beer, but it was funny, he'd come up to the door, he'd had one of those white nightgown things on that you see old guys wear back in old days. Little cap with the thing on, and what do you want? Got any beer, Whitey? Yeah, well, how much you want?
And it was skunk beer, didn't you say?
A lot of times it was skunky. Yuck.
It was warm, I guess, is the deal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did it. And
His daughter told me that he never drank or smoked himself. He never drank any of the booze he made, and he didn't smoke.
he had diabetes.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that one.
Yeah. He had
But we're talking about this brother, the youngest brother. Charlie was the oldest. This guy was the youngest.
Yeah.
And but he had a garage on Whitey did. He used women and children to move the booze. And back in those days, they would do it because they needed the money.
There's that car. It has the air conditioner on, it's real noisy, but I think they go real slow to see if they can pick up internet.
Oh, that's the one they've been talking about.
From people's houses, yeah.
We've all got our internet locked on this street. But they go by the motels. You can find it there usually. But
well, they get close to that church. I think the church might.
Well, the church probably does.
I don't know if they got it blocked or not, but oh, they'll sit on the corner down there. Car running, air conditioner going, just the
Tapping away.
The fans on the air conditioner just running full blast. Noise. But that's what my neighbor guy thinks that's what he's doing.
Well, that's always a possibility.
But then he heard there's some kind of game that people are playing on their phones, so I don't know.
Oh, there's that always, and there's the, yeah, I haven't really got into those. A couple of the kids have got into what they call them, you actually play with other people and talk to them. I can't think what they're called, role play and stuff. A lot of them are mystery and that kind of stuff. But I play games where there might be other players, but it's not like that. You're not on any kind of verbal communication or anything like that. I just like something I can just do. I don't have to keep a schedule. I worked long enough. I don't want to have to keep schedules like that anymore. I got schedule enough with this, and this is fine with me because I enjoy this. Right?
Yep.
And I enjoy that he gets to be part of it. Because his stories about this town, sometimes they're so interesting because they were before my time. And,
well, a lot was before my time too, right here. I used to talk to people.
well, yeah, you lived here a lot longer, you lived your stories a lot more.
Yeah.
But tell them about Whitey's garage.
Whitey's garage.
Yeah. Remember, they'd come in the front and they'd go out the back. Maybe you didn't tell me that story.
I didn't tell you.
Somebody told me that story. But no, maybe that was his daughter. But he would hire women and have them bring their children. I don't know if they got paid $1 for a load or what. But he would put the booze in their car and they would go out the back end. Nobody really thought to stop a woman with her kids. It just wasn't done. And they weren't going fast. They just needed to get it to the railroad so it could go to Chicago. I guess. I don't know.
I've never heard that before.
I just know that she said that it was his daughter. She said that Whitey used women and children, and he had a garage he'd open it in the front for them to get in, and then he'd open up the back for them to leave. So if the police would post themselves out front, they weren't going to see a darn thing.
I hadn't heard that.
I don't know. That's what I heard. That's what I was told. So. I think he's having a little bit of fun.
Making noise.
Yes, you are. And now you're wiggling me. You know, I'm not afraid of those hooks or the boards. What I'm afraid of is the chain wearing through. Rusty old chain. It is. It's pretty thick.
It's rusty. They get that way.
I don't really have much fear with it until the day I land on the floor.
Yep.
And break it.
Then I'll fix it.
Yeah. They'll put me in the hospital saying, set my hip, and then he'll fix it. You know, I know a lot of people don't like to hear that, but you either laugh or cry. We are getting older, you know, we're careful, but We can joke around.
Oh, I see.
What do you see?
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I need to adjust these.
I don't use it.
I know. This way it'll be even.
We need to fix the sidewalk before I can use it.
Now, how much more away? What am I doing?
I don't know, dear, but you're gonna have to readjust it anyway because I'm short.
Never mind.
It's funny.
It'll be okay.
It'll be all right. Now he's gonna play.
Well, you can use this to go out on the street and walk.
That crumbly old thing?
What?
That street is as crumbly, more crumbly than any of the sidewalks.
No, it ain't.
You do. He's playing a game.
I walk on it every day. What are you talking about? You're just
He's giving me trouble because he knows. He knows. We've ridden the scooters out there on them.
Smooth as a baby's butt. Smooth as a baby's butt.
Don't believe him. Don't believe a thing he's saying.
But I walk on it every day.
Well, that's just fine. When I'm gonna punch you. When they first, I don't, but I might smack his knee. He's got me laughing so hard now. But
I covered myself. That ain't gonna hurt me.
now I forgot. You made me forget again what I was going to talk about. You dope. Anyway,
I'm a dope.
he used to call people doofus.
Dopey, discomblected dumbbell. That's all I am.
Those are not very nice. But I don't know if discombobulated is any better. Or Twitter-pated.
Twitter-pated.
They're just funnier. Okay, we love you. Take care of yourselves.
Bye-bye.
Smile and wave and go share it. And we love you. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the candle